you all so much for tuning in. We have a match to commentate. It's going to be Chucky versus BBSM Army. Shout outs to Brown Battalion. That's us. Shout out to Smash Mob. That's them. Let's get into this.
Let's go.
Oh, and here we go. It's going to be the matchup of Ness versus Olimar. Very different characters overall. While Ness does possess some nice disjoints and some projectiles of his own, I think primarily Chucky's goal is going to be trying to get some of those grabs. Down throws leads into those forward airs, puts out some nice damage, but he's going to have to figure out a way around the myriad of projectiles via Pikmin that Army's going to be throwing his way.
Yeah, so you touched on it. Ness is good, has a lot of potential. He gets off of down throw, multiple fair follow-ups afterwards, and he has this back throw to finish off the stocks. But what we've seen from Army multiple times is that he does such a great job of taking these Pikmin and doing a good job of zoning, using side Bs, using down smashes and forward smash, and really forcing these guys to keep honest. So I'm curious to see what we get from it. Multiple fairs.
Yep.
Ooh, 3 times. We got it.
That's exactly what we can expect in this matchup. And you notice that Army is trying to hit him with the purple Pikmin. It has that great knockback on it, but the problem is it doesn't quite have that same range as some of the other Pikmin.
True.
So you got to be kind of close to the barrel if you want to connect with those.
So keep in mind, you touched on it. Each Pikmin has a different range that they might go. Purple being the shortest in terms of distance that will travel off the side B. And you'll see he's not afraid. That Army is not afraid to go down deep to take him out.
No,
there it is, baby.
Deep he goes.
Let's
Slams
go.
him straight to the shadow realm of Smashville, taking that first stock really solid.
That's exactly what I want to see, the fearlessness. Don't be afraid to challenge your opponents. This is Smash 4. You have really strong recoveries. Use them.
Well, we have Chucky now at a lower percent, so Army's probably going to be looking for some Pikmin that do a lot of dot damage. Pay really close attention in particular to the white Pikmin, because that's the Dementor. That's the Dementor. That's what I like to call it.
Ooh,
so good at siphoning those souls.
There's that back throw to take away stocks. And now Army's back on here. 28% difference, not that terribly much. But Army's going to do his best to see if he can continue to build it. Off of a throw, he managed to get another 30. This is good. It's good. It's a good chunk.
Oh, it's purple Pikmin, man. So strong. And look, that yellow Pikmin did some pretty decent dot damage as well. It's looking really tough for Chucky having to fight this uphill battle. He's going in deep, trying to maybe get an early edge guard. Might be a bit too low.
Yeah. No. He shoots it off in the wrong direction. He tried to drop down with up air. He tried to see if he could contest it, make it so that he could get back onto the stage easier. But, man, that doesn't work out well for you. So
it's rough.
I would definitely advise, with Ness, it's not as advisable to go off stage because that recovery is rather unique, and the fact that you're stuck in one place and kind of just slowly drift down is a massive target painted on your back saying, hey, come dare me.
Yeah, and Chucky, granted, he had that deficit that he was really struggling to overcome, so I can see his thought process. He thought, if I go out of my way and maybe get one of these edge guards, a really early percentage KO would be possible.
Yep.
But, I mean, Army repping a character like Olimar just has such great recovery from a distance standpoint. Granted, it's very easy to contest, which made it even more tempting, but I don't know. I don't really know if I can agree when you fully flesh out the thought process. But yeah, Army taking game 1, really solid play. And we're already seeing kind of some of the keys to his success, right? The early game dominance with the Pikmin, I think, is really important. And you're seeing he had the purple for the knockback, and the yellow Pikmin just continued to really put on some percentage.
I touched on this earlier in the brackets, is during pools, which is whenever you have Pikmin out, you're really painting a picture for your opponents to see these are my options that are optimal. And this is what has a higher likelihood of happening. So it is a good way of telegraphing to your opponent, this is what I really am thinking.
Yeah.
So now we're seeing both these guys trying to see if they can create some opportunities. They're both creeping closer into the triple digits.
Yep.
And using that PK Thunder is a great way of continuing to grab percentage easily and effectively. But it doesn't create opportunities in terms of combo game or setting up for positioning.
Yeah, it's just a pretty solid juggle tool, but that was rough. That was rough. So close to that blast zone. Ends up losing that stock first. But, he can return the favor. Ness possessing that really powerful back throw, and you can already see that Chucky, he's fiending for it.
Dude, did you see him? Multiple forward Bs just keeps chucking these well-spaced Pikmin, particularly the purple one because it creates the knockback. So continues to use that, stack him up, and building percentage. He's still going.
Yeah, and the purple Pikmin might not have that dot damage, but what it gives him, I guess, is a little bit of time before he has to retreat from a stage standpoint, right? Because before, it's like... Ooh, that nearly could. Because before, if it was just a standard Pikmin, he wouldn't have that same knockback, which means that he'd be backing himself more and more into the corner, whereas this gives him a little bit of time. No time really to survive, though. That back throw, one of the strongest in the games, ends up taking out that stock. Down to 1 stock apiece. Chucky, 36% deficit, climbing, but that nice Nair is going to be able to snap that red Pikmin off before it does way too much damage.
And there it is. Catching them with some Pikmin. The white ones, particularly poisonous.
Yeah.
They definitely add a little bit more in terms of the dots. So Army, just keeping it simple, man. He's trying to build percentage safely. He's being smart about it.
And I like the little things that Army does too, right? He'll go ahead and condition the opponent to use shield by throwing out those Pikmin. But then whenever you do throw the shield, he'll get the grab, and we've seen him do some pretty nice damage conversions off of those grabs.
Chucky doing a good job of using PK Fire, trying to zone, and has done a good job of really sniping out those Pikmin. I think one of the more effective things you can do is really isolate out those Pikmin and take and snipe them out. Like with Marth, you can do things like down tilt, for instance, that can potentially get those Pikmin. Ness, I'm sure, has an option as well, using the PK Fire. As soon as that comes out, it's a hitbox that stays there and it stays active. And as long as it stays in front of Army, you can set up for grabs like that.
The PK Fire coming in so clutch. Army actually ended up running into that, I think. If I remember correctly, the PK Fire actually snagged onto a Pikmin. Army ran forward, gets caught by it. That's what set him up for the grab.
Yep. And whenever you clank between PK Fire as well as a Pikmin, the fire is going to stay. Your Pikmin's going to be exterminated, but the fire stays, and remains as a hitbox directly in front of him. And that includes the active hit stun that can be done to Olimar himself.
Well, here we go. Game number 3. Chucky getting on the board there. Very critical. Let's see how it's going to work out here. I think that closing the distance obviously is really big for Chucky, like we mentioned before. And he's doing a much better job this time, really trying to understand some of the projectile pressure that's going to be coming from Army.
So out the gate, the first thing we're noticing from Chucky that's different is he's no longer worried about the down throw fair pressure. Like, he's not doing that. Instead, he's looking to see if he can create positioning early. So he's doing forward throws instead of down throws.
Yeah, he's been capitalizing a lot from some of the positioning that he's been getting. And we're seeing right now that Army is just struggling so much to even get back onto the ledge. These PK Thunders doing so much damage. Chucky going out for the fair, doesn't find it, but wow, just look at the damage differential already.
Notice that Chucky is not trying to roll to the center if he can avoid it. He wants back throw or bear. He can take both of those.
Wow.
And Army going out with his first stock early.
Very early.
Wow. He doesn't have Chucky even towards triple digits yet. He's still got a fair amount to go. So Army's going to try to continue to use his zoning style and see what he can make of it.
Well, I mean, he does have the purple Pikmin and the blue Pikmin, one being really good for grabs, the other one being really good from a knockback standpoint. So let's see what he can do. Let's see what he can do. Ooh, the fair kind of contesting, and wow! Army went so deep, and he somehow managed to make it back onto the stage. That was a massive play from Army. I cannot believe that he got away with that.
This is the same reason why we started paying attention to him, is that this kid does not care. He is willing to take the risks, go deep, and has that clutch factor.
I mean, we need to see that clutch factor right now. He's had plenty of game threes throughout the time that we've seen him here in Texas. He's been able to come out on top on most of them. Chucky, however, has had some solid adaptation overall. Done a really great job of controlling a lot of the stage as well as the positioning from a spatial standpoint, making it very difficult for Army to have that same projectile presence that he had previously.
What is he going to do? There's the forward throw. And now Chucky is trying to see if he can keep out those PK fires. We talked about it earlier. They're very prominent.
Very interesting from Army, opting to go for the up B, actually, to escape the wall from the PK fire. The back throw, woo, barely takes him out. Gotta give huge props to Chucky there. Gotta give huge props. After a pretty shaky game 1, manages to come back and win 2 in a row. Very impressive.
He did a great job adapting and swapping between the styles. Then initially, we saw him playing a very combo-heavy game. We saw him going in, not afraid to do so. This time around, we saw him play a bit more spacing-heavy, focusing on alternative ways to finishing off stocks, using back airs in addition to the back throws.
Yeah. And it was really good by him. He got around the walls that Army was setting up more than anything else, right? And once he did, he was able to get his hands on him. gets that final back throw, takes that final stock,
Yeah.
and takes that set 2-1.